Welcome back to the Resilient Man podcast. In this episode, I'm joined by Steve, a world champion paratriathlete whose story is the definition of resilience. In 2002, Steve was told he may never walk again after a near-fatal car accident that crushed both his legs. But this was just the beginning. He takes us through the physical and mental battle of recovery and the drive that pushed him from a wheelchair to becoming a world champion athlete. Hi, Steve. Welcome to the Resilient Man podcast.
Hi, James. It's nice to be here. Thanks for the invite, and I'm looking forward to having a nice chat with you.
Fantastic. So the Resilient Man podcast is all about the moments that shaped us, those moments of adversity, and sharing how we overcome those moments in order to inspire others. So how I'd like to open this podcast is to first ask you, what are those 2 or 3 key moments in your life that have helped shaped you into the person you are today?
2 or 3, only 2 or 3. I think with my age, there's just so many things that have shaped me. So I guess I'll just go on the things that come straight to my head. The big one, I mean, it whizzed through my childhood. There's probably lots of things there. The 2 or 3, I guess I'm thinking more recent. First of all, big one, had a major near-fatal car accident in 2002. So skidded off the road, both my legs were crushed, told that I may never walk again. That was a major change in my life that shaped me from that point onwards and even to who I am today. More recent, I'm guessing stuff like running a business through the pandemic is a major one that's changed me. I almost have a shiver when I hear the word pandemic because there's those things that flash back into my mind. And then more recent, last year I had a mental health episode. I never know what to call it, whether it's a mental health breakdown or session or episode, but yes, I ended up in hospital because of my mental health, and again that has shaped me to become slightly different changes. So they're the most recent ones, or the ones that spring to my mind. So yeah, they're the ones that I'll probably we can expand on if you so wish.
Perfect. Okay. So 2002, do you want to just talk more about that accident?
Yeah, so 2002, building up to that, I always kind of say that I was quite an average person with school and my life. I left school with some GCSEs. I worked down the coal pit. I was fit. I was healthy. I was in my 30s. I was driving on the outskirts of Sheffield, hit a patch of water on the road. My car lost control. I skidded. My car had a side impact and crushed both my legs. I got rescued by the ambulance, fire brigade, police, paramedics. They mercy dashed me to the nearest hospital in Sheffield, saved my life and tried to save my legs, which they did. But the results were that I was told that because of the injuries that I sustained, there was a chance that I may never walk again. And that was a real turning point in my life, because I don't really like being told what I can and can't do. A lot of people don't. It's like a red rag to a bull. And somebody tells me that I may never walk again. I remember feeling quite angry about that. As in, I'll show you, you've just saved my legs and now you're telling me that they might not work. What do I have to do to make sure that they do work so that I can stand again, so that I can walk again? And I guess it's the fight or flight, isn't it? The flight could have been, I could have just rolled over in bed and gone, okay, I guess I'll never walk again. But the fight in me was, I'll show you. And so that's where my journey started, really. And initially, it was very much about survival. It was just about breathing, about eating, and about recovering, and about just working out where on earth I was. It was about pulling out all the resources that I'd gathered from my life up to that point, as a amateur athlete, setting goals and working towards them. I was very much into running. In scouting, setting goals and working towards them. The badges down the arm are very much like that. As an engineer, constantly being given problems and having to find solutions. And now I had a big problem on my hand that I had to find solutions, working with the people that were there to help me, the nurses, the admin, the surgeons, the doctors, the nurses, everybody, my family, my friends. Those were my golden gang, that I call them now, that I needed to ask for help to take me on that journey. And so that's what I did, set those goals, getting out of hospital, setting a goal of actually growing my leg back by 4 inches, setting a goal of standing up, walking again, doing all of these things and pushing myself, because that's what I really wanted. And it's really important that I say that, because it's, for me, with all of these things, whenever you're working towards something, a goal, it's about knowing what you want and why you want it. If you don't want it, then you'll probably find a reason not to do it, or there'll be some kind of excuse or barrier or hurdle. There always are. But if you really want it, then you'll find a way of bashing through that barrier, climbing over that hurdle, and making sure that you achieve it. And I really wanted all of these things to stand to walk again. And so that set me off on that journey. And whizzing through that over the next couple of years, that's what I did. And coming out 2 years later, being able to stand and walk, I still had a disability now in both of my legs, but I'd achieved, the first of many goals on that journey, I guess.
Wow, that's quite a journey. So you're laying in the hospital bed and they come up to you and they say, you may never walk again. That must have hit quite hard, or was you instantly like, no, you're wrong, I'm going to prove you wrong?
Yeah, just you saying those words kind of triggers me. It's as in it ignites something. You may never walk again. And so it wasn't like a Rocky film where I suddenly said, I'll show you, and I started doing chin-ups and stuff like that. I probably just rolled over and cried, to be honest. But it was very much the next day, the next week, the next month, just bit by bit, working towards that thing that I really did want. So yeah, it's just, I think it is just the bit by bit. And I say that because I'm really impatient. When I do things, I'm terrible at setting deadlines. I always set them too short, and then I fail, and then I have to carry on and drag myself through them. It takes like double the amount of time. But the point is that I do eventually get there. And I'm okay, so I do get the deadline wrong, but I don't get the goal wrong, because I've thought about it for a bit, or it's something that's just so impulsive that I just know that that's what I want and that's what I'll work towards. And so again, like I said, knowing that and having that passion, that fire inside me ignited. And sometimes it's ignited by various things. It can be ignited by somebody saying something stupid like, you may never walk again. That to me is a crazy thing, and that ignites something. But it might be something like, you're no good, or you will never achieve, you will never succeed, I don't think you're good enough. Things like that can really ignite you. Now, I get it. They can also push you down into the mud, and you probably think, okay, yeah, maybe they've got a point. Everybody's different, and it depends on the individual as to how that ignites you or not. But if you believe in yourself, and I do believe in myself a lot, then when somebody says something that I don't believe, then that really ignites me in a good way. So by being in a negative point, that can really help, but also being in something positive, as in somebody saying, I believe in you, I think you can walk again, go for it, or I think you can do this, I think you can get that job, I think you can find love, I think you can lose weight. Having somebody say that to you can really help you. And again, finding what ignites that thing can really help, whether it's negative or positive. There's a thing called a beta region paradox, which I've heard recently, and it's a lovely thing. Let me try and explain it. If everything's going okay in your life, then that's good. It can be good. If things are going really good, then that's great. But sometimes when things start going bad in your life, that's also good. And that's the beta region paradox. So say you've got a job and it's okay. That's not always good, because you're putting up with stuff. Yeah, the job's okay, it pays money, my boss isn't too much, hard work, and the colleague, it's okay. That's not necessarily a good thing. It's only when things get bad at your work that you think, do you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to take action. I'm going to go and find a new job. I'm going to go for that promotion. I'm going to start pushing harder. And it can be same in your relationship. Your relationship's okay, and then maybe they might cheat on you, and you go, well, that's it. Enough. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to split. I'm going to find a different partner that loves me. So in the end, it turns out to be a good thing. So sometimes something bad happening in your life can be a good thing. It does depend on the thing, and it depends on you as a person as well, the beta region paradox. And sometimes, I wish anything bad on anything, but it is about having that growth mindset, that positive mindset, to take a step back and go, okay, well, let's reassess this and let's see what we can do about it. Maybe this is what I needed. Maybe this is the kick up the arse that I needed. And maybe that surgeon saying to me, you may never walk again, was the thing that I needed to say, I'll show you, I'm going to prove you wrong, and off we go on this journey. We'll never know. Or maybe he was just very arrogant and ignorant, and he didn't mean it. And to be honest, I find that surgeons can be quite blunt sometimes, so maybe that's just the way they are.
There's so much to unpick there. The first one is, it reminded me of a story that I heard. I think it's like a Japanese tale or something. I'm not going to be able to get this word for word, but it talks about a Japanese farmer, and his horse runs away one day.
Yes, I know the one. I know the story. Go and carry on.
And his neighbour came up to him and was like, isn't it bad that your horse has run away? He said, oh, well, I don't know yet. And he's like, what do you mean? And then his horse came back with another couple of horses. So then they'd had like 3 or 4 horses on his farm. And then a few weeks later, his son broke his leg. And again, his neighbour came up to me and went, "Isn't this awful? It's really bad that your son's now broken his leg." And he said, "Well, I don't know yet." And then it turned out that they were doing a conscript for people to join the army in that age category of his son. And his son couldn't join the army because he'd broken his leg. So just your story there of how sometimes a bad thing can actually turn into a good thing really just sparked that in my brain. I think there's more to it than that.
It is that phrase of "I don't know yet," and it takes time and practice to work on those words that you come out with. So I'm getting better at it. So for example, my example is I've left my house, I'm driving down the road, and I'm off to a speaking gig, and I suddenly think I forgot my wallet. I'm that old that I still have a wallet with a bit of cash in it every now and again. And I think, oh, I need my wallet. So now I have to say, wow, how lucky am I that I'm not on the motorway yet? How lucky am I that I'm only 5 minutes away. I can turn the car around and go back and go and get my wallet or phone or whatever that thing is that I've forgotten. How lucky am I? Now I'm doing this through gritted teeth. And I'm also swearing inside my head, going, I can't believe I've been lost that thing. I'm going to be late now. I'm going to be late now. I'm going to be late. But I'm saying, how lucky am I? And it is that mindset and it is that practice. So that when it is something serious, it's easier to say, how lucky am I that it's only a dent, it's not a crash. It's only a scratch, it's not a cut. It's only a sprain, it's not a break. It takes practice to come out with these terminology because it is a lucky thing. We don't know yet. And yeah, sometimes it is bad and it's obvious that it's bad. But a lot of the time, do you know what? It could be a lot worse. And it's practicing to have that positive mindset.
100%. And it's just sparked another thought in my head, which is change I have to I get to. So I have to go to the shops. I get to go to the shops and go to this building full of food that I need to eat and live off.
No. My business coach, Rob Pickering, he picked me up on, I said, I've got to do something. I've got to go for a run tonight. He says, oh, do you not want to go then? I thought, well, it's raining, so I don't really want to. He says, okay. He says, I picked up on that because you said I've got to. Whereas if it's sunny and it's fresh, I was like, oh, great, I get to go for a run today in the fresh air and it's going to be amazing. Or I've got to do this. I've got to go and speak to that person. I've got to send that email. Just the word got, isn't it incredible? But if you start using the word got or realize when you use the word got, you probably don't want to do that thing, do you? And you think, no, I don't. I think, okay, it's fine, but just admit it to yourself. Why? Why do you not want to do that? And just ask yourself the question.
Yeah, and I think you find out more about yourself from doing that. So we've gone over it briefly, but I just want to touch on that recovery period and growing your leg back. That sounds very painful.
Yeah.
How long was you in that recovery period before you could walk again?
It all gets a bit fuzzy. It's probably about a year, I would say. I only hesitate because there were setbacks. And yeah, it does sound. Let me just clarify about growing your leg back because I sound like some kind of lizard man, don't I? So I had this metal cage on my leg. My leg was short by 4 inches, 10 centimeters. The bone got knocked out, moved up, sealed again, held together with the metal cage. I then used that metal cage to slowly extend my leg out again by twisting nuts and bolts on that cage, lengthening my leg, causing a gap in my leg with no bone, literally no bone. And I had to grow that bone back. And I said, like you said, Jay, how do you grow bone? I had no idea. I just thought you drank lots of milk for calcium or ate lots of cheese to get the bone to grow back. And the surgeon's like, no, Mr. Judge, you did a lot more than just drink milk and eat cheese. He says, what you got to do is you've got to stand on your leg to encourage the bone to grow back. And I'm like, yeah, but there is no bone. He says, exactly. So you've got to stand on it to encourage it. And that is very much a mind over matter thing. To tell my brain to put weight through my leg where there is no bone and trust the cage. The cage was holding it together. And the more I did that, the more the bone would grow back, the stronger the bone would grow back, and that would be the result. And it is very much of, I always think of Forrest Gump in these situations where Forrest Gump very much did what he was told, how to assemble a rifle. He was told how to do it. He just did it. How to play ping pong. He was told. He just did it. I was told you've got to stand on your leg to grow your bone. I was like, okay, if that's what I've got to do. I'll do that then. None of this was easy. And standing on it, using a Zimmer frame to stand on my leg and slowly put weight through it was like the tears rolling down, the gritting of the teeth, the sweating and everything. It was horrible. I did it for 10 seconds as my first attempt. But then after that, using crutches to slowly put the weight through my leg, cheating as much as I could, but admitting that I was cheating and slowly putting the weight over my leg, through my leg, because I knew that would work. Eventually going out of the house on crutches, that's scary, nothing to hold on to, and going out into the big wide open air and walking on my leg with no bone in it to encourage it. Going down to the park and walking around again further and further and further. We're going to 10 meters, eventually 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, and doing that over the next year and a half. That's what made my bone grow. Yes, maybe a few calcium pills and milk and cheese helped along the way, but a lot of it was hard work and grit and determination, tenacity, because that's what I was told to do. It's a big message here that if you want to do something, there's generally people out there that know what you need to do. There's probably even a YouTube clip or video of telling you what you need to do. But at the end of the day, it's you that's got to do it. And that's the hard bit. And that's where a lot of people falter. A lot of people say, oh, do you know what? It's too much like hard work, or I haven't got time, or I haven't got the dedication. Okay, well, fair enough. Don't do it then. But then you won't achieve. I was really passionate. I really wanted my leg to grow back, as you can imagine. I really wanted to stand and walk again. Do you know, James, my goal was very much about getting back to normal. It's my big thing. I didn't want to walk with a limp. I didn't want to be disabled. I just wanted to be back how I was before the car accident. And the result was, after all of this, that the cage was released. My leg did grow back, but I was not normal. I was not the person that I used to be. But I suddenly realized that big message here, that there is no such thing as normal. I was very different. And so the message is, stop comparing yourself to other people, to your friends, to your family, to your colleagues, to celebrities. Everybody's different. And I had to start thinking about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. And that sent me on my next journey with dealing with my disability now, with a new life that I had in front of me. I had always said that the accident never ruined my life. I just said that it changed my life.
I really like that perspective. And I was just going to touch on motivation. And I read somewhere that you drew yourself walking. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a big thing that I do. So I was in hospital. Hospitals are quite a negative place. There's a lot of moaning and crying and stuff like that, and people ill. I just needed something positive, to be honest, James. I just wanted some kind of vision. And so, yes, I did draw a picture of me walking up a mountain, not even on crutches, my leg the right length and everything. And I saw that vision, and I loved that vision. I thought, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be here in hospital. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. I don't want to be on crutches. I want to be walking, wearing shorts up a mountain. And that vision really helped me just to focus on what I needed to do. But I'd done more than that. I use vision a lot. I have a vision board over in my office. I have a sketchbook somewhere around my desk, and I now and again just draw a picture of what I want in my business. And I encourage other people in my workshops when I'm on the stage as a speaker to draw that picture of what they want, do they want that six pack? Draw that picture. They want to be in love? No, draw a love heart. They want to be lots of money? Then draw lots of money. But more than that, what do you want that money for? What are you going to spend that money on? Who are you going to help? Who are you going to spend the money on? Where are you going to go with the money? You want a car? Draw a car. Draw 2 cars. Draw a house with a swimming pool with a slide in it. Just draw the picture. And it's very much about admitting to yourself about what you want, getting out of your head. But once you've drawn it, and you can see it, you can actually share it with other people. And that's really nice, because other people are really nice and kind and helpful, and they will want to help you. If they know how they can help you, then they will. And if you can show them a little picture, a little sketch that you've drawn, then that helps. And then onwards we go. But yes, I did draw a picture and continue to do that. It tends to help me, and it tends to help a lot of people as well, which is always really nice.
One of the things I heard about when it's coming to goals is it's not necessarily reaching that goal, it's the person you become in order to attain and reach that goal.
Yeah, I guess so. I hesitate on that because I like achieving the goal and celebrating. So yes, I'm sure you do change the person that you become as you're achieving that goal, but the goal is just so important. And again, if you don't achieve it in that year that you set, then keep going. If it takes 2 years, 3 years, it's really strange. So somebody said to me, because I've written 2 books, and the second book, somebody said, how long did it take you to write your second book? Was it as long as the first one? I said, to be honest, it took me 2 years, and I was a bit frustrated because I'd I'd calculated it would take me 1 year, and I was disappointed with myself that it took me 2 years. That's double the amount of time. And then I had a word with myself. I said, Steve, at least you did it. There's so many people out there that say, oh, I'm going to write a book one day. Yeah, one of these I'm going to write a book. Oh, we've got a book inside us. Yeah, we're going to write a book. Well, go on then, write a book. Because there's so many people that do the talking. You might tell that this frustrates me. There's so many people that talk about stuff but never do it. And that really, really frustrates me. I think we don't get judged. This is a quote that I saw. We don't get judged on what we start. We get judged on what we finish. And I finish things. I definitely finish them. And sometimes it does take me longer than I expect, whether it's 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. But you know what? Eventually I get there and then I celebrate. So yeah, and I probably do change a little bit on the way, but I don't really think about that. I just think I'm like a dog with a bone. I want that thing. I'm going to get that thing. And I go and get it. And I think that other people should be like that as well. And think twice before you set those goals. Absolutely. Think 3 times, think 4 times. But once you know what you want and you've drawn that picture, go for it. And you will move mountains to get there. And I like that.
One thing you mentioned there is about celebrating the success. And I don't think enough people do it. And I'm probably talking about myself here. When I reach that goal, I don't necessarily celebrate it. Would you be able to expand on the importance of celebrating how you celebrate achieving your own goals?
Yeah, let me just clarify. You're a Muppet, James. You should celebrate. You got to do it. It's so much hard work working towards your goals. It's exhausting and it's never easy. There's always like things that knock you down. So when you do get there, geez, celebrate and celebrate however you want. And again, think about how you're going to celebrate. Draw a picture if you want. Are you going to go on holiday? You're going to get some champagne. You're going to go out with your mates. Are you going to buy that Lego set? Are you going to do something? Are you going to take some time out, go to a spa weekend? Just have some time to yourself. How are you going to celebrate? Because it's so important. Because if you're not careful, you'll achieve that goal and you'll feel so good about that you'll immediately set another goal and another goal and another goal, and that's lovely and I like that, but then you're just going to burn out. And so at some point you just need to celebrate, and the celebrations also helps you get through the tough times, because as I said already, it's not easy. So when you are having those low periods, when you've been knocked down a couple of times and you're asking yourself, why on earth am I doing this? This is crazy. I'm an idiot. Why did I even set off on this journey? Find that picture that you drew and remember, the goal and how good you'll feel about achieving that goal and what you're going to get from it, but also the celebration, and that's really important for those low periods of time. And maybe when you do finally get that goal, achieving the goal in itself is a celebration. And maybe you won't feel like celebrating. You think, I don't need to celebrate. I can carry on. That's rubbish. You got to remember what you set out to do and how you're going to celebrate, and give yourself a big pat on the back. And I mean like a physical pat on the back of when you do things, small wins, big wins. So I do this every day. At the end of the day, I go through a certain routine. I call it my sunset routine. And let me think, I haven't got it in front of me, but it is, first of all, what I'm going to do tomorrow. Get that out of my head so I can sleep. Sleep is so important. It's a superpower that a lot of us abuse. So you've got to get some sleep. First of all, get out of your head. What are you going to do tomorrow? Write that down. Then next, what did you do today? 3 things, just 3 things that you did today that you were really proud of yourself that you did. And then after that, it's 3 gratifications. So things that we generally take for granted, like I've got a roof over my head, I've got food in my fridge, I have actually got some money in the bank, I am fit and healthy, I've got a partner, I've got friends, family, all of that stuff. Just 3. Don't repeat them each day. That's cheating. And then I usually do some breathing. I say meditation. Sometimes I'm so tired, I just want to go to sleep. So it's just literally breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Do that 3 times. Slower than that, of course, so I can relax. Maybe a bit of reading, just 1 page. A chapter would be great. But again, if you're really tired, then maybe just a paragraph or something, and then go to sleep. And I usually write down what time I go to sleep. And then when I wake up, I write down what time I've woken up and work out that I've got enough sleep. So for me, 7.5 hours is really good, and just monitor that. Nothing strict, but I just know that I need to get enough sleep. And if I'm feeling, for instance, if I was feeling ill or stressed or anxious or something was wrong, I could look back on the sheets and go, look at that. I had 5 hours sleep, then 4 hours sleep, then 6. I'm clearly not getting enough sleep. And the consequences are that's had an effect on me. So making sure that I get enough sleep is very important. But yeah, going through that routine, the celebrations in the day. So, and the point of this is, I'm digressing a little bit, but bear with me. So there's this quote that I love, and it helped me write my second book. The quote is, hell on earth. Hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become. Now, some people accept that and other people reject that. What it means is getting to the end of your days, meeting the person you become. A lot of people say, yeah, I get that. When I get to the end of my days, The person that I could have become will be the successful person, the fit, the healthy person. And I will probably have regrets that I didn't spend enough time with my family. I didn't go on enough holidays, and I will have regrets. I get that. I understand that. And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. I hate that. Hate is a strong word. That means that that person is planning. They're planning to have regrets. That's wrong. The way that I see it is when I get to the end of my days, I will have no regrets. The person that I could have become will be the waste of space, the loser, the person that watched too much telly, the person that was overweight, that didn't look after themselves and didn't fulfill their life in the happiness that they should have done. Now, I'm not saying that that's easy, but that's my goal, to have no regrets, to get to the end of my days and go, wow, what a rush. I've done as much as I could. I didn't do everything, okay? I didn't achieve all those things, but I worked damn hard to work towards them. And I've had a great rush, working to do that. But the only way I'm going to do that is to have no regrets every year. And to do that, I've got to make sure I've got no regrets every month, every week, every day. So every day I get to the end of it and say, okay, any regrets? And I'm not perfect. Nobody is. And so sometimes I get to the end of the day and I go, do you know what? Yeah, a few regrets. I did get sucked into that social media stuff. I did drink a bit too much and eat a bit too much. I had that takeout as well. And look at the time, it's a bit late. Okay, I regret that. Okay, it's not the end of the world, Steve. Let's not do it tomorrow. Let's be better tomorrow, and let's not have as many regrets. Because the days when I do get to the end of the day and I go, what a day, it's been so good. I got up early, I've been buzzing, I did my wellness, I got fresh air, I drank loads of water, and all of this good stuff. I had time with my friends and family and made some money. Today's been a brilliant day. And today I've had no regrets. I love that. And so that's what my plan is, to have more of those days, weeks, months, years, to finish my life with no regrets.
Wow. I think that's actually really powerful, and actually something that anyone listening can just simply implement themselves. At the end of the day, doing the gratification, saying what you're grateful for, and having that focus.
And you're absolutely right, James. Only you can do it. I think this is the thing. Only you know whether you should have done that or shouldn't have done that. And we can be a bit lenient and stuff like that. But deep down, I shouldn't have done that. And ask yourself the question. You don't have to go and announce it. You don't have to put it on social media. You don't even have to write it down. You just have a little voice in your head going, okay, tomorrow would be better. Or today, pat on the back. It's been a good day. Well done.
I like that, 'cause it's really easy, really simple, and really tangible for someone just to take away and just give it a go just for one day, and then just take it from there. Small habits and increasing them over time. We're talking about success. So you've grown your leg, which is a success in itself, which is still mind-blowing. You walk in, but then you go on to do triathlons.
Yes. So I achieved a goal, and I thought, right. And to be honest, James, I still had that anger inside me that the accident had caused me frustration, pain, disruption, and I wanted to prove it wrong. I was like, what can I do with this body that I have now? And I was looking for new challenges. I could swim, thinking about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. I got into swimming, got into cycling, looking for a new challenge. Found this thing called paratriathlon, so triathlon for disabled people. I registered as a disabled athlete, which was great news for me, because now I could compete as a disabled athlete. And they said, can you run? And I said, not yet. And again, I had a goal now. I hadn't run for 7.5 years. Running had been stolen from me. Again, that anger, using my anger to propel me forward. And so I went out and I started running, and I thought, I can do this. I had a lot of pain. And so the next day I couldn't run. So I thought about what I could do, and I did the swimming. And then the next day I did the cycling. And the next day there's less pain, and I did the running. That was my training montage. That took me all the way up to my first paratriathlon. So this was 2009. What's that? 7 years. 7 years after the accident, and I'm doing a paratriathlon. And not only that, it was the British Championships. I competed in my category against other people with similar disabilities, and I crossed the finish line grabbing the gold medal to become British champion in my category. And it's just an amazing achievement to go from wheelchair to British champion. And then opportunities opened themselves up to me. Somebody said, you're now British champion. Would you like to represent Great Britain? And I'm like, hell yeah, I would love to do that. Again, grabbing that opportunity with both hands and doing something about it. A lot of people, they see these opportunities whiz by them, and I wasn't prepared to let that happen. So yes, I'm now working full-time in health and safety, in construction, so full-time job. I've got a family with 2 kids, and now I've got this opportunity to represent Great Britain, represent my country, and do paratriathlon. So that's what I did. I set out on that journey, swimming in the morning, running at lunchtime, cycling in the evening, working, juggling in my life, but succeeding, and becoming European champion, and then getting all the way over to Beijing 2011 in China and competing against paratriathletes from around the world in the swim, the bike, the run, and then crossing the finish line to become world champion in 2011. So an amazing accolade for me to go from wheelchair to world champion. Couldn't believe it. Just such a journey. And I've whizzed through that as though it was like quite easy. It was really, really difficult, squeezing in the training and the blood, sweat, and the tears. But yeah, what an amazing achievement for me. And I say that and I'm smiling because it's just amazing to go on that journey and to get that result. Incredible.
I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like for you crossing that line, first place, looking back where you were, all the emotions. I bet that was quite something.
It was emotional, it really was. I think at the time I was just like overjoyed, but I think looking back on it, like a minute after I'd crossed the finish line, I remember feeling really emotional. I got this thing, a finisher's medal. And it's just a finisher's medal. Shouldn't use the word just, but it was just a finisher's medal. I just finished, yeah, so what? But it's like, yeah, but it's a finisher's medal. Look at where I am. I'm the other side of the world. I'm representing Great Britain. I've grown my leg back. I've done a swim, bike, run. And that finisher's medal meant just as much to me as the gold medal that I got an hour later on the podium. And it's about recognizing what I had achieved, how far I'd come. And yeah, still in the back of my head, what's next? What's next? And you're like, well, hold on, let me just do the celebration first, and then we'll talk about what's next and onwards I go.
So, what advice would you give to someone who's up against it, like everything's against them? What advice would you give them?
I don't know, shit, isn't it? When everything's up against you, it's really hard. And I think there's no denying that. And I think the first thing you got to do is accept it. It's, I guess you got to dig down on your resilience. I talk about resilience in one of my workshops and my keynote as well. Resilience is a wave of resilience. And you start there, you're going okay in your everyday life, and something hits you. And initially you go into denial and you're like, I can't believe this is happening. And then you suddenly realize it is, and it drags you down. It's about riding the wave of resilience. So after the denial, you'll come down and you'll be angry. Let yourself be angry. Control it if you can. Be angry. Scream, shout, go to the gym, have a pillow fight, do some gardening, but be angry. Let yourself be angry. After that, you need to share. Share what you're going through. Share with yourself at least. Start journaling. If you can, share with somebody else. Share with somebody that's qualified, a therapist, a counsellor, friends, family. I know, read poetry that you can relate to. Listen to that song that you love the lyrics to, that you get, that you understand. They're going through what you're going through, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a loss of job, whether it's an accident or whatever. But share somehow. Now, even though you're doing all of this, you're still going to hit rock bottom. And rock bottom is a dark, a miserable place. Could even be depression, depending on what you've been through. But depending on how you've controlled the anger and the sharing, depends on how long you're going to be at rock bottom. Because once you get through rock bottom, the next bit is acceptance. Acceptance of where you are. And once you accept the situation that you're in, then you can do something about it. You can start taking action. You can start getting that dopamine release, that serotonin release, and that will lift you up. And once you start going up, you start feeling good about yourself. You can start thinking clearly. You take more action. That will take you. And what it will do will take you up to the next level. And what I mean by that is when you get up to this level, you'll end up being higher than where you were at the beginning, meaning that going through these tough times, these really bad times, if you do it correctly, will take you to a higher plane. And that's a good thing. Now, sometimes that is going out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself out your comfort zone. Sometimes that is having some kind of adversity going on in your life. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but if you control it the right way. So I love this quote where you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to what happens to you. By controlling it in the right way, the wave of resilience, riding the wave of resilience, you can come out on a higher plane than where you started. So that would be my advice.
Fantastic. And the last question on the podcast, which I was going to go to later, is what is a mental resilience to you? And I feel like you've kind of just answered that.
Yeah, I've cleared that one. Job done. Ask you another question.
So that was one of the first key topics. Just moving on slightly to running your business in a pandemic. So What was the adversity you faced there other than the obvious?
It was horrible because as a conference speaker, it's being on the stage in front of hundreds, thousands of people, and that is just completely wiped away. And immediately, you go online and you start doing presentations online to hundreds or thousands of people. And yeah, there's a buzz there. I'm still inspiring, still motivating, still empowering people, talking about resilience, helping people. But to be honest, that's not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to talk on a screen in front of people, who aren't really there. I wanted the physical contact. I wanted to mingle with them. And so I dragged myself through the pandemic doing these things kind of with gritted teeth, going, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I know I'm still doing the thing that I like doing, but it's not the physical thing. So that was my adversity. And it was a case of needs must. I need to earn money. I still want to inspire people, and this is what I need to do. So I did do other things. I sold some copies of my book. I did workshops online. I taught people on resilience, but it was all about just like biding my time until the conferences open up again and I could actually go onto the main stage in front of 100,000 people and do my thing. What I do is it's more of a performance than just a keynote. It's not just standing there with a PowerPoint. It's acting, it's the highs, it's the lows, it's the stagecraft, it's the humor, it's the lows, the high. There's so much to it. And that performance is what I really love doing. That's why I do my business. I know it's helping other people. That's almost a byproduct, but I love doing the performing thing. And so that's what I was striving towards all the way through the pandemic. And so, yeah, the pandemic lasted a long time for me.
So what inspires your motivation to help other people?
What inspires? I think it's probably giving back. It's completing the circle. Very much initially, my journey has been about me. It's my leg. It's me standing again. It's me walking again. Eventually, representing Great Britain, I could say that I was doing that for my country, but actually it's my gold medal and my trophies. I've got to a stage now where I want to give something back. I think what motivates me to keep doing that is my frustration. Not the accident, I think I've got over that now, but my frustration of other people not achieving, not fulfilling their life to the happiness that they deserve. It's the people that say, I want this, but I don't know how to achieve it. I'm like, oh, I know how to achieve it. I've got the winning formula, the 5 winning ways. That's my second book is GOLD, being an acronym for your goal, your opportunity, your love, your dream. What is that thing that you really want? And people admit it, that okay, what I really want is to find love, to have the house, to retirement early, or to go traveling. I go, okay, right, let's talk about that, because I know how to achieve that. And it's my frustration that people don't know how to achieve that. And I just want to help them. And I'm always thinking about what more I can do to do that. Speaking, great. Workshops, great. What else? I'll write a book. Okay, great. What else? An online workshop, great. What else? And so my project at the moment is a feature-length film, and to get my journey out there to inspire and to motivate. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, as well as a documentary, as well as a kids book as well. So there's lots of projects, but I'm still thinking, okay, is that enough, or is there something else I can be doing? And that's what keeps me going, always thinking about what more I can do to help people to achieve their goals.
I think that's really powerful as well. For me, it's looking back at my experience and then what I've been through, what would have helped me, and can I pull other people along with me and help them get to where they want to get to. And so, yeah, I find that's really powerful and very fulfilling as well from a selfish personal point of view.
Selfish, yes. Ubuntu. So there's a African proverb. Ubuntu is the philosophy as I am me because they are them. That is it. I am me because they are them. So parents get this, that if their kids are happy, they're happy. Is that a selfish thing? I don't know. It's a self-care thing. It's a nice thing. If they're happy, I'm happy. Leaders get that. Managers get that. I get that as a business owner. If I can fulfill people's dreams so that they achieve and they're really happy, I'm happy that they're happy and they're happy that I'm happy. Everybody's happy. Ubuntu is lovely. So yeah, I love that. And that's one of the philosophers that I follow.
I'm learning quite a lot. I'll make a note of that. So moving on then. So we've run through the business through the pandemic, and then last year you end up in hospital. Are you able to unpack that a little bit for us?
I can, without digressing too much, otherwise it'd be another half hour or so. Okay, so last year, 2024. So 2023, I was going through some tough times with my relationship. that had been going for 7.5 years. That eventually broke down just after Christmas. My business was struggling, nothing to do with the pandemic. It was just like it was struggling. And because my business was struggling, which is hard to accept, I also was struggling with money. You've now got a relationship, you've got business, and you've got money issues, plus lots of other things like a parking ticket, like losing your keys, like stubbing your toe. All of these things add up. And I was going through it the other day and I was thinking, yeah, there's quite a few little things that all add up. The thing is that I wasn't talking to anybody about it. So I was just pushing them down and just getting on. So when people saying to me, how are you, Steve? I say, I'm fine. How are you? Tell me about you. Let's talk about you. And I twist it round because I didn't want to talk about me. And I thought I'd be okay. And also I think I had that thing of, I'm a motivational speaker, so I don't want to be moaning and groaning. I want to be positive, optimistic. I want to be motivating. So that's what I did. And I was doing it very well. And I was still looking after my wellness. I was fit, I was healthy, I was drinking water, I was getting fresh air, doing all the tick things, that people say. But because I wasn't talking about what was going on inside my head, it was just building up. Anyway, I got ill, and then I got really ill, and I got rushed to hospital. I rushed myself to hospital. I had to drive myself to hospital in the rain. It was quite dramatic. It was late at night. It was dark. It was raining. I had tears running down. I got to reception desk. They couldn't understand what I was saying because I was blubbering. I was in so much pain. Basically, I had a blood infection. Now, in my leg is quite vulnerable because of what it's been through. So the blood infection was quite bad. So a little bit like septicemia, something along that. They never actually found out what it was, but they literally had to pump me full of antibiotics, put a drip in my arm. And I was in hospital for 5 days. Now, anybody knows that was obviously bad, because nowadays they get you in hospital, they get you out straight away, unless it's really bad. 5 days was bad. On the 5th day, I was feeling better. And I was like, wow, what happened there? I go, well, it's a blood infection. I was like, yeah, but how did I get that blood infection? I hadn't been bitten by a rabid dog or wild rabbit. I hadn't scratched myself. How did I get a blood infection? I thought my immune system was obviously down. Okay, so why was my immune system down? I was like, well, I don't know. How have I been? Have I been okay? And I was like, well, no, not really. I guess I've been a bit run down because of my relationship, my business, my money, and all of this. And I was like, oh, and suddenly the penny dropped. That's because my mental health had been bad. That had affected me physically. That's how I've made the connection. And people can read into it however they want, but I do believe there is a connection between mental and physical now because I've experienced it. So the next thing is, okay, Steve, I never, ever, ever want to go back into hospital for that reason again. That was silly. That was crazy. What do I have to do to make sure that never happens again? Again, it's a bit like setting a goal. And so I came to the conclusion, I need to be open about it. I need to start talking about it. And I literally made a list while I was in hospital about all the people that I need to talk to about what I'd been through or what I'm going through. And at the top of the list were people like my mum, my brother, my sister that I hadn't talked to, my best friend, or my best friends. I hadn't talked to them. And what kind of an idiot am I? And you just think, okay, so they're the start of the list. Then my work colleagues, my other friends, my associates. And I just made this list and I slowly, over the next couple of weeks, started reaching out. I did do a social media post, not as a moan and groan, but just to explain what I was going through to help other people, so hopefully that they could start opening up. And it did help. People said, thank you, Steve. That's very open of you. And because of that, I got some counseling. I got a therapist as well. And they helped me to open up to find out what was stopping me. So I was struggling to ask for help. I don't like the word vulnerable or being vulnerable. I can feel it a little bit when I say the word. But that's what I needed to work on, to be more vulnerable and be more open. And why do I struggle to ask for help? Is it something from my childhood, or is it just something that I don't like doing? So things that I've been working on, and that was my progress, my journey from that point onwards. And I'm now a year later, because it's literally an anniversary. And how am I now? I'm better. So I have no mental health issues now. I don't feel, but I'm constantly checking in on myself, as in when people say to me, how are you, Steve? Am I being completely open? Because we can always put on a face, yeah, I'm fine, how are you? So I'm saying, yeah, I'm okay, but there's not loads of money in my bank account and it's kind of on edge, but I feel that I'm in control. How am I in my relationship? How am I in my health and things like that? And just opening just a little bit more than I used to. And the more I do it, the better it gets, the easier it gets. Finding that, one thing, I talk about your golden gang. to help you achieve your goals. In rehabilitation, I had the amazing NHS. As an elite athlete, I had the amazing practitioners, the coaches that got me across that finish line to achieve my gold medal. In business, I have my business coach and my mastermind group. I've now got a golden gang for my mental health. And what I mean by that is finding the right people to talk about the right things. Here's an example. I talked to my mate, my best mate, about my relationship issues, about my girlfriend and what I was going through and everything like that. And he was rubbish. He was rubbish. He didn't really give me any advice or help or support because he's a bloke, not being sexist here, but he was really good at helping me with my business, DIY jobs, things around the house. I then talked to my female friend about my relationship issues. She was brilliant, maybe because she's a woman. I don't know. It's about finding the right people to talk about the right things. And the only way you're going to find that out is to kind of spill the beans on everything to everybody and find out what they're good at and working out, okay, so you're good for business, you're good for DIY, you're good for goal setting, you're good for relationships. And then you know who to go to when things get tough. And that's what I've done. I think over the last year, I've built up my golden gang more with my mental health. So I know who to talk to at the right time. And I think that's really valuable. That would be my takeaway for the people, is to find the right people for the right situation. So when you need them, you know who you're going to call, not the Ghostbusters, unless ghosts, I don't know, but find the right people at the right time.
Fantastic. That was going to be my follow-on question, which was what would be the takeaway for people. So it'd be for them to start opening up, making that first step, and then start talking.
Find your golden gang, the golden gang that will help you in whatever. I'm a goal setter. So if it's to set goals and achieve them in sport, then that. Business, then that. But mental health, then that. Who are those people? Have you got those people? Do you think you know who they are? Test them out. Maybe have a one-to-one with them, have a chat with them and really be open with them. Maybe they're not the right person. That's fine. You move on, you find the right people. Sometimes you find out that some people are really bad. You've got to drop them because they just drag you down. Oh my goodness, what are you doing with them? Hopefully not, but if they are dragging you down, then they're the wrong people. Find the right people. That's what you need. You deserve that.
One of the things I notice about me personally opening up with people is they will sometimes in turn open up with you as well, and then you almost connect on a deeper, more meaningful level with that person, and it's a different type of relationship, I guess.
Yeah, it's so nice when they start opening up to you and you go, oh my goodness, this is great. And again, you might not have the answers. Maybe you're just a listening person, and that's fine. But it's really good that they've had the confidence and the opportunity to open up to somebody, and that's lovely.
Because then you realise you're not alone. Someone else is either going through it or been through it, and that in some way provides some sort of comfort that you're going through it together.
Absolutely. It's so safety in numbers. It's and maybe you shouldn't be thinking like that, but you do not know what's going on behind closed doors. I mean, you see all the social media, it's all positive, isn't it? And you see people in the streets and the pubs and you chat to them, it's all positive. There's not many people going, woe is me. You don't want people to, because it's negative and it drags you down. But sometimes at the right time, when people do open up, that's really nice. And especially if you can actually help them as well. So finding the right time, the right people, the right situation to express what you're going through, I think that's gold dust. It's great.
So, Steve, seeing as you've stolen my last question, already answered my last question, and we've already got a lot from you, but is there anything else or any other key takeaways you want to put across just as we wrap up this call?
I don't think so. I think I just want to express everything that I've already said, which is, on the journey that you're going on, whatever it is, to work towards that thing that you want, that your goal, your opportunity, your love, and your dream, there is going to be barriers and there is going to be hurdles. And you've got to see those, I would say, as excuses, and don't lean on your excuses, but instead turn those excuses into challenges. But I would say, James, the most important thing to achieve is to always be the best that you can be. Because if you do that, then you'll have no regrets. And if you do that, then I believe that everybody here listening to this will achieve their goal.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Steve, thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone else will have got a lot out of this. So thank you.
Great. It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, James.